The camera focuses on Margaret's face, 50 years old, dried tears on her cheeks, holding a single key in her trembling hand. Behind her, an empty house, furniture covered by white sheets like ghosts from the past. 27 years of marriage. And all I had left was this key to a one-bedroom apartment that he generously left me. Margaret walks through the living room where she raised her children, where she celebrated birthdays, where she believed she was building a future. The marks on the wall show where the family pictures used to hang, now just rectangular shadows on faded paint. Richard didn't just take our money, our house, our business. He took my dignity. At 50, I was a stranger in my own life. 3 weeks earlier, Margaret accidentally discovers an open email on the shared laptop. It wasn't just an affair, it was a meticulously planned strategy. Richard had systematically transferred all assets to offshore accounts, put properties in third parties' names, emptied joint accounts. According to the law, I was entitled to half of everything we built together. But Richard knew better lawyers than I knew the truth about my own life. Margaret finds documents she had never seen, contracts signed with her signature, loans in her name, debts she never incurred. She wasn't just an abandoned wife, she was a victim of financial fraud. In that moment, I realized I wasn't just fighting for money. I was fighting for who I really was. In the tiny apartment, Margaret transforms the kitchen table into a command center. Stacks of documents, highlighters, colorful post-its mapping 27 years of shared financial life. She enrolls in online financial law courses, spends nights studying jurisprudence, learns terms she never imagined needing to know. Her adult children, initially skeptical, begin sending supportive messages. "Mom, I've never seen you so determined since." Never, actually. Margaret documents every suspicious transaction, every unauthorized transfer, every financial lie. She's building a case, but more than that, she's rebuilding herself. The courtroom is packed. Richard, confident beside his expensive lawyers, didn't expect to see Margaret so prepared. She didn't just bring evidence, she brought a complete narrative of systematic financial abuse. "Your Honor, my ex-husband didn't just violate our marriage vows. He violated federal law by concealing assets, forging documents, and committing financial fraud." Margaret presents each piece of evidence with surgical precision. Bank statements, recovered emails, witnesses Richard thought would never speak. The room falls into absolute silence as she reveals the full extent of the financial betrayal. "You've already had your turn, Richard. For 27 years. Now it's mine." The judge not only orders equitable division of assets, he determines that Richard must pay fraud penalties, compensation for moral damages, and all of Margaret's legal costs. True love can't be bought, sir. But justice has its price, and today it was paid in full. Margaret's victory doesn't go unnoticed. Local newspapers cover the case, highlighting how she exposed a financial abuse scheme that could have remained hidden forever. 50-year-old woman exposes ex-husband's million-dollar fraud. Case sets important precedent for financial abuse victims. Margaret receives dozens of messages from women in similar situations. She realizes her individual fight has become a symbol of collective resistance. "I wasn't just recovering my money. I was recovering the voice of all of us who were silenced, manipulated, devalued. Margaret, now 58, is in a modern office with a panoramic view. The sign on the door reads, Margaret Foster Institute, Advocacy for Financial Abuse Victims. The walls are covered with thank you letters, photos with victorious clients, certificates of recognition. What began as a personal fight became my life's mission. We've already helped over 2,000 people recover not just their assets, but their dignity. She leads a team of specialized lawyers, works with legislators to toughen laws against financial abuse, and gives international lectures on economic empowerment. Richard thought he was destroying me when he left me with nothing. But he gave me the greatest gift possible, the opportunity to discover who I really am when I fight for something bigger than myself. Margaret is at home, no longer the tiny apartment, but a cozy house she bought with her own work. On the wall, a framed picture, the first newspaper article about her legal victory. Sometimes people ask if I forgive Richard. The truth is he freed me from a life where I was invisible to myself. The greatest revenge wasn't suing him, it was becoming unbreakable. Love and truth always find a way. Sometimes that path goes through the courage to stand up when the whole world expects you to stay down. Margaret looks directly at the camera, with the confidence of someone who transformed their greatest defeat into their greatest victory. If you're going through something similar, remember you're not alone. Your story doesn't end when someone tries to make you invisible. Actually, that's when it really begins. Case closed. No. Justice served. Every single day. If this story touched you, share it so the voice of justice and love can reach further. Because every woman deserves to know, you are stronger than you imagine, more valuable than they made you believe, and more capable than your fears whisper.